today, actually, Joel and I are co-presenting, are co-doing this lightning talk, and we are going to be talking about the co-design and open educational practices that we have both worked through from a student perspective. So Joel and I are both graduate students at the Workland School of Education at the University of Calgary, and last year, the EdTech Ethics course was designed so that students co-designed and co-created an open educational resource, so in the form of a press book. And we used a lot of open educational practices. So we are going to be talking a little bit to that. Joel's currently in the course this year. I completed it last year. And so we are going to touch a little bit on motivations for working in the wild, building something more than just a check in the box, and teamwork as an obligation to others.
The big concern for me, or the biggest thing that I like in the design of a course, and I'm experiencing it actively right now since I'm in the course, suffering along to do this, is the motivation to participate. And we say that being in the wild, it's the use of Twitter and the blog that we have, which we have the option of being a public blog or doing using Twitter. If you take that option and you are actually you're more interested in and more concerned with and more critical about what you are putting out there, because it's open to the world, right? You're getting feedback from real people beyond your class, beyond your professor. So that type of motivation drives the content and the quality of the content. And you're doing it along with your fellow students as well. So Twitter, as we're posting, there's also some kind of, there's an invisible competition going as well. As you see other students in the class posting things, it motivates you to continue to participate as well, where I think in other classes, I haven't experienced that before.
Yeah, and I would definitely back you and support you on that, Joel. For me, because I had choice in this project, it was really authentic and engaging. So I was able to pick something that I could extend and apply in my classroom or in my own context. And that fueled this a lot. It actually leads really well into our next point, which is the idea that in this course, it was intentionally designed so that you are creating, and your assignment is more than just checking a box to say, yeah, I did it, handled, finished, moving on. So with a project like this, you are so much more engaged. There's a lot more rigor into it. And so the end product that you create is a lot stronger and ends up having a bit of a ripple effect. So we published this press book last year. Each of the students in the course had the option of whether or not they wanted to openly publish their own writing. Personally, for me, it's had a huge effect on my academic career and even on my learning. Like I said, the rigor involved in this, you have a lot of feedback loops, a lot of different sets of eyes on your work, which really elevates it to the next level. I was able to actually take my final chapter from this press book and use it to apply for an open educational fellowship. So I managed to get that, which has accelerated my academic career. So I'm in my final year of my master's doing my capstone project. And this has enabled me really from having no understanding of what open is. This has enabled me to get to the point where I'm extending research from last year's project and contributing knowledge and building on knowledge that this course has helped me understand and build. And I can hopefully contribute that back into the outside community.
I think it's in the most collaborative I've ever seen for the entire process. Normally you work away in a dark corner of the room working on your assignment, and nobody sees it till the very end, and then it's hit or miss. It survives or it dies. You get a good mark, you don't, and that's the end of it. But like we're saying, it's you put that much more effort into it because it's going to live on. It's a real thing that goes out into the world. But we're sharing this stuff in the earliest stages with the class, and then even outside the class, in the draft, in the structure. Usually that kind of ugliness is all kind of, never show it to anybody, but we're just out there. This is, very open. You're seeing other people's thoughts, feeding back to it. They're giving it to you. It's the most collaborative I've seen.
The other thing that Joel and I actually had talked about before too is the whole fact that we're shifting more and more into this digital realm. Our course is done and conducted completely online. So not only is this pushing my learning as far as understanding of the ethics involved in different areas of educational technology, but it's also teaching me a lot more about how I want to exist and work within that open and within a digital environment. So I'm learning a lot more about sharing, how to connect. So the connections I've been able to make in growing my personal learning network has been enormous in this. And that's not something I've ever seen in another undergraduate or graduate level class. So I think that's another huge importance. Go for it, Joel.
Yeah, this year we have a student in Turkey and we have one in Japan. This crosses time and space. You know, the geography is not an issue, time's not an issue. I read a book, I sent out a tweet, I included the author. There was feedback, we're chatting, somebody wrote a book at MIT. When would I ever have access to that type of interaction, that type of collaboration? And you just have to get over that fear and get out there. And the course is kind of nudging us to do that. And once we've experienced it, then you can build a community as big as you want.
Yeah, I think the community is a massive part of this. And it keeps students involved. So a lot of the students from last year we're noticing are voluntarily jumping back into the course this year to offer support for other students, for additional students. They're jumping into environments like Twitter so that they can continue contributing to the conversation and building on the knowledge. So finally, and this I'm going to let Joel start with.
The big one was, though my chapter is going to be about something that I picked and I care about and I'm very interested in. I'm obligated, kind of socially obligated, to learn about the other parts of the course as well. I've had previous courses where, you know, there's many different subtopics, and then you hone in on one that you're interested in, and that's great. But you kind of ignore the other stuff. But here, because you need feedback from the other students, and they need feedback from you, and because it's so collaborative, you kind of have to learn about their topics too, even though you might not be expert in them or like them even, or enjoy that topic, but to be able to collaborate with them and give them meaningful feedback, you kind of have to learn about all of the areas of the course, even though you get to specialize in the one that you're most interested in, that will become your chapter. So it really gets you to learn and explore areas that you probably wouldn't in a normal course, where you could just kind of do your one bit, write a paper, hand it in, and go.
Yes, so I think those are the biggest outcomes so far that we're seeing. We are doing research on this right now. So I do work as an RA on the project. We've done some interviews and we're getting students' perceptions. So continuing to gather, and we're hearing really the same thing. It's incredibly engaging. It's meaningful because it's authentic and you're actually putting it out into the real world. And it's teaching us skills beyond just what we would learn in an ethics class. You're learning how to give feedback, take feedback. You're learning your writing is improving academically. And we're learning a whole lot about living in the open. So thanks very much. Joe, do you have anything else you want to add?
I think that's it. I got a chapter I got to get back to writing.
Yeah, Joel's still struggling through the tough part.